Hi, I'm Dr. Tennille Paredes, Chairman of the Board and founder of LWP Life Academy. This is a foundation I created in honor of my grandmother's legacy. We aim to close the gap between home and school by enabling the youth to get life skills that aren't taught in core curriculums around the country. We have a mentorship program that we'll be launching called Mirror Match Mentoring. We give out partial funding scholarships in 5 different categories, and we will be launching our curriculum in the upcoming year 2023 for the students. So be on the lookout for more. Welcome to Thrive's panel on Women in Leadership, Past, Present, and Future. I'm Dr. Tennille Paredes, CEO of Teal Business Services. I'm here with Dr. Suganya Sockalingam, CEO of Teamworks International, and Amber Harris, CEO of the House of Amber Serena. Today we're going to start off with brief introductions of ourselves and where we are in our journeys. Suganya, would you like to start?
Thank you. Thank you for that introduction, and thank you for the opportunity to be on this panel. And so today, one of the things I was asked to think about is what is it like to be a woman leader? What is it like to be a woman leader who is also a person from a minority group, and what has it been like in the past, and what is it like in the present, and what could it look like in the future? And so that is an exciting conversation to have. I am principal of Teamworks International, which is consulting services in the human services arena. I am the co-founder of Change Matrix, and in the past I've worked as director of multicultural health and in other state offices as well. So I'm excited to be here today.
Thank you. Amber.
So my name is Amber Harris, Amber Serena Harris. I'm currently a new business owner, mostly probably focused on styling and fashion. My professional career, I currently work in beauty as a chief of staff and a brand ambassador and builder. My journey, I feel, has been probably one of the most direct journeys that I can speak of in a career, because it was a natural progression, and I feel that that allowed me a lot more respect, because it gave me the aspect of ladder climbing. And then I also picked up quite a few learning tools as I went through that ladder to get to where I am. So when I say that, I literally mean like starting off as a receptionist and just like climbing up to where I currently am, which is awesome for me. And I don't think it's the easiest thing, especially in the industry of beauty or fashion, because a lot of the times you're not taken seriously because of it's a physicality-based industry. And because it's such a shallow industry, people tend not to want to look deeper into the person. So I feel like the more layers you can add, in other words, like people say you pad your resume, pad your experience. And I think that allowed me a lot more confidence to get where I am, and also added to the ambition to make me feel like I can get to the next level or whatever I decide that I want to do. So it's kind of just my story.
I'll give a brief intro to my story. My path was not as direct. I've had a lot of twists and turns and major changes and life experiences. I pretty much say the theme song to my life is My Way by Frank Sinatra, because I tend to do everything my way and not the traditional way.
Legit.
Right. So I am the CEO and owner of Teal Business Services. I'm also the board director for LWP Life Academy. I started wanting to be a journalist, but I was told, right, like, my life is not a straight and narrow path, but I'm here. journalism was not in the cards for me. Doesn't match my personality or my strengths. It was just, I grew up thinking I was going to be Oprah.
So good.
Right, but my talent is numbers, and I have a passion for financial literacy. So my goals now in life are to teach financial literacy to as many people as I can, especially the up-and-coming youth. Being a woman in finance has been difficult, especially a minority woman. But I will say, as much pushback and resistance as I've faced based on my skin color, I've gotten more based on my gender. And it is hard to climb the ladder with finance, which is why leadership skills are important, because you have to jump out the window sometimes.
Yeah.
And entrepreneurship is important in that aspect. Seeing as how pretty much all entrepreneurs, do you want to speak on that, starting your entrepreneurship journey?
Yeah. In terms of the entrepreneurship journey, it would help first to talk a little bit about the skills and the knowledge that sort of allowed me to start that journey. And I too sort of shifted, and along the way have become who I am as a principal of a consulting company. But where I started was a very different place. I chose to get a doctorate because I knew, having come from Asia, that women don't get opportunities to lead unless they have that final degree. And so it became imperative to have that. And I thought I was going to work in the field of nutritional sciences because I had worked with children who were malnourished in Asia, and I wanted to make a difference. And so I thought if I got my PhD in nutrition, I would go back and work on issues of nutrition and help people and children who didn't have sufficient nutrition. I did get the PhD, and I did work on a UNICEF project, and then I also then took a national project with the Women, Infant, and Children's Supplemental Nutrition Program. So I did start that journey, but along the way, around my 4th year, my superior, she was director then of the whole division of humans. It was child health and human nutrition. Dr. Maxine Hayes, she's a powerhouse, and one of the first, I would say, African American women pediatrician who held that position. She brought me into her office and she said, "I'm kicking you out of the nest." And she said, "Oregon has a position for director of multicultural health," and she says, "I want you to go and get interviewed, apply and get interviewed." I said, "I don't think I'm ready." She said, "You'll never know till you try." And it was her, Dr. Hayes, who kind of had faith in me and said, "You can do it." And I applied and I got the position. And so it shifted my direction of interest to health in general. And it was minority health, multicultural health. And so I then started looking at disparities. And when I started looking at disparities, I was just so angry because I just saw how difficult it was for communities of color to get well, because our system is set up in such a way that it's so hard for them to. And so then I began my trajectory of interest and work sort of took me into minority health, health disparities, and now we talk about equity and social justice. And so that path then began at that time, and I worked for the Oregon Health Division. Then I worked for the National Center for sort of Cultural Competence, which was funded by the Maternal and Child Health Bureau. And then when I left that, started my entrepreneurial sort of work, because I chose to leave the center and sort of come out west, and so decided I didn't want to work with any organization after the work I had done, and I wanted to kind of go out and do things that I wanted to do, and so I set up Teamworks International. A couple of years later, a couple of colleagues asked if I would join them as well, and so the three of us co-founded Change Matrix, and sort of Teamworks International just sort of set the back for a little while. But now I'm retired from Change Matrix, and I have picked up Teamworks International, and so my future work is going to be around what I think is so imperative here, especially because I'm speaking from Las Vegas, and that is the understanding that a lot of women who are elderly, who are single, who are sort of either divorced or widowed, struggling to meet ends financially because they never had the opportunity to do so because their husbands, their spouses, took care of all the finances and they didn't need to worry about it. And also young people coming into the workforce don't understand finances. And so my focus now is also the social determinants of health. It's like how to help people understand about housing, how to help people understand about, finding work, how to think about their future. And so those are all the things I'm focusing in as a sort of a future endeavor. So.
It's wonderful. That was quite a journey. I was processing it all, and it's quite a journey. So I think for me, entrepreneurship is very, very new. And I think to get to this point, I had quite a bit of help. I didn't have quite a bit of confidence in the industry. I just felt like you should just trust me. And when I say that, because I'm in like the beauty fashion industry, I started off like styling and dressing my friends, right? So I was always like the person that everyone was like, Amber, I'm going to this party, what do I wear? Amber, we're going here, what are we gonna put on? So after a while, I didn't really take it seriously because it was just like I'm helping my friends put outfits together, right? So for quite some time, probably years and years and years, it was just, that's what it was. I help my friends. And I think it takes a lot of, sometimes it takes someone else to believe more in your ability to help to instill a little bit of that in you. And I think that's what kind of happened for me. And I had, people trusted me. And I think that's what really made me feel like, hey, I can do this because people trust me. And now in my professional career where I'm working in beauty, I think the diversity is great. I'm running into, because my company is London-based, a lot of the women don't look like me. They're, and I'm thinking I've been trying to contemplate a way to where I'm not only bringing the diversity to the company, but also to the consumer. So where the content part of my role is coming in at, and it's also helping with my entrepreneurial side where my own business and styling is, I'm creating this content, just like I'm creating a brand for myself. And it's very difficult for me. It was hard to get people to trust that I was able to accommodate the diversity in women, and not just women. I want to branch out eventually and style men. And a lot of people seem to think when they first started to work with me that I can only work with women who were like me. So I felt there was a lot of having to prove yourself. And I think that goes into a lot of career choices that you make in women, and being a minority, a woman that's a minority. I feel like we always have to do that. We always have to go like that extra mile to prove that not only can you handle the task, but can you complete it. And then I just feel like we've been showing people that not only can we do that, but we can excel, move beyond to the next step. So I think that's probably where I currently am in new entrepreneurship. I'm at the place where it's, what do I do and how do I help others? How do I make people feel like I feel when I'm doing what I do? I want you to be just as happy with the work that I'm giving you as I am doing it for you. So if I can do that in the business side, and then in my professional work as far as beauty, if I can change our consumer experience and make other women of color feel like, hey, I can do that.
Mm-hmm.
I can look like that. Why is that not attainable? It is. You know how they say, like, you can't be what you can't see. So can I be not a visionary, but can I be a visual? So I'm trying to create that for me. So I hope I can bring that to being a new business owner. Can I bring that? Can I bring the individuality, but can you also see the vision the way I see it?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I'm working on right now. So hopefully I'm gaining a lot of knowledge just sitting here with you both, especially your story.
Well, for me, my journey to entrepreneurship happened for many reasons. One, everybody's not meant to be an employee. I'm one of those people. When you have someone with a strong mind, will, and set, and I'm not a good employee. I'm a better employer.
Sorry.
Right. And I learned that working for Dr. Pinkney. He's a big part of my story, as he's like an adopted dad to me. My hiring story with him is hilarious. So I dropped out of high school. I applied for a job at a clothing store, got it. I was happy, same day, went the interview. I get home and I get a phone call from Dr. Pinkney. My grandmother ran into him at a bar mitzvah and told him I dropped out of high school. So he calls me and he's like, this is your job interview, why should I hire you? And my response was, I don't know, I didn't ask you to. And he started laughing and he was like, be at my office 9 a.m. Monday morning. You have a job. And I'm like, but I already have a job at the clothing store. He was like, no, you work for me. I get to his office Monday morning and he sits me at his desk and he goes, you're going back to school or you're fired. And I was like, but I didn't ask for this job. Like, what is happening right now? And he's like, you work for me. You're going back to school or you're fired. And it was like no choice, no opportunity to change my mind. It was the best thing that ever happened to me. Started working for him as the receptionist. Within 2 weeks, the person in charge of the billing department was pregnant and was preparing for maternity leave, and she had gotten sick during her pregnancy, so it was like a rush out. The receptionist at the other office also got pregnant right behind. And I started in May. By December, I was working the same shift as him. I was working both offices doing the reception, doing the medical billing while the biller was, I was 17. And I started doing the medical billing. Then I was doing the workers' comp billing, the no-fault billing, and then I was running the financial department. I had convinced him, like when I got there, the woman doing the billing was working on a typewriter. And I was like, I know, I just dated myself. We are not doing this. I convinced him to buy computers, and I was like, if I have to do all of this, I need something to make this up to speed because I can't be erasing, stopping every line, starting this form over. Convinced him to get computers for the whole office, told him what forms could be on the new internet that's available that, you know, doctors of that age did not trust at that point. And completely changed everything. And he sat me down and was like, you're not going to be with me forever. And I was like, what do you mean? Are you firing me? I like this job. And he's like, no, what I mean is you're going to surpass me. You have a head on your shoulders. You have goals, ambitions, and you can get there and do whatever you want. You just have to believe that you can do it. And he stayed with me. There was a point where I was about to drop out of college because I couldn't afford it. And he wrote a check and paid for my tuition to make sure that I stayed in. I asked him years later why, and he had promised my grandmother on her deathbed that he would make sure I graduated. My grandmother always wanted me to finish college and to start my own career because she always knew I was headstrong. Grandmother always believed that I would grow far. She's also the reason behind my passion for financial literacy because she instilled that in me from young. Crazy reason why, but she always thought that I would need to know how to run my own finances.
I think it would be helpful to think about where we are and in our current sort of entrepreneurial journey, and also then to explore, where do we want to go and what do we want to do. I mean, I think like I've been an entrepreneur now for almost 20 years, and I'm just sort of retiring from one consulting company, and then thinking about another consulting company which won't be as a full a sort of career, because I don't want to do that.
Right.
I want to have the time to be able to travel and spend time with family and do all the other things that one does as part of retirement. But I also feel like there is tremendous value in sort of sharing what I have learned and what I have grown to understand with young people who are coming up in the world. And so that's part of the reason why TeamWorks International is going to focus on education on a variety of different things. And I have actually coached 2 young people into a shift in their careers, and they're now professionals. And I feel like that's a role that is going to be invaluable, because for many young people, there isn't that coach, there isn't that person who can mentor them, particularly, I think, for young people of color, both men and young women. And so this seems like a good time to be able to use what skills I've learned, what I've understood, and to sort of share that through a mentorship program, through a coaching process with young people. And which is why it excites me to be part of Thrive, to be able to do that. And coming out to a sort of an event like this, where there are young people who are sitting in and listening and having an opportunity to meet each other and talk with each other and explore different paths. For instance, I can talk about the different paths in human services. You can talk about it in finances. You can talk about it in arts and personal care. And so I think that is so useful and so meaningful for young people to be able to hear.
I think the only bit of advice I would give anyone coming into the industry that I work in is, I think confidence is everything in this industry, only for one reason only. As long as you believe in yourself, you never know who you're inspiring. So I would say, stay true to who you are. I think discouragement is natural for everyone, and I think experience is the best teacher. So don't be discouraged by your journey, but I think learn and build from it. And like I said, you never know who's watching, and you never know who you're inspiring. And I think for me, what I tell myself regularly is like, try to be the person that you wanted kind of when you were younger. So like when I do certain work, or when I work on certain campaigns or projects, I kind of think about like that 15-year-old me when I think about the things that I dreamt about and that I'm able to experience now. It's kind of surreal. So that's why I say I would just try to stay true. If you can't go a day without thinking about something, it's probably something you should think about. And I guess that is my only advice. If you can't stop thinking about it, you should probably put some more thought into it and see where that takes you, because that's clearly something that you're passionate about. Anything that you're passionate about and that you love is something that clearly inspires you. So you never know what you're going to be able to reciprocate when you're doing something that you actually love. So I would say stay as genuine and true to you.
For myself, the advice I give is build a strong team. A lot of people go into entrepreneurship thinking you have to do everything yourself, and you have to be a solopreneur and that it's all on you. Build a team, people you trust, people that are like-minded, and people with diverse thoughts. Don't have your whole team have the exact same mindset as you. I literally built my team, my staff, they fill in the gaps where I mess up. So my strengths are their weaknesses, their strengths are my weaknesses. And that's why it works well together. Mm-hmm. Trust yourself. Trust your instincts, your gut, and your courage. And know things might not always go right. All of us up here on this panel have had fails in our life. Mm-hmm. We've experienced losses.
We've been fired.
We've been fired, right?
We quit. Definitely quit.
We cried.
Right. We laughed, we cried, we like pulled our hair out. But just know that pull it together. At least once a month, I lay out on my bathroom floor and cry.
Yeah.
And then get out, wash my face, get in the shower, pull it together. And as long as you keep moving forward, there's nothing that you can't do. And don't let anybody else's expectations or views of you change your own outlook on yourself. What somebody else thinks about you has nothing to do with how you think about yourself. But before we go, I want to take time to talk to both of these young ladies because they are both very humble and they're both very pivotal in my life. Suganya has filled a void that I didn't even know I had. The moments where I catch myself crying on the bathroom floor, I will call Suganya and ask her a question that I already know the answer to, just to hear her answer the phone, "Hey kiddo." Because I'm at the point in my life where I am the adult.
Yeah.
And there's moments where it's like, I need someone that's more adult than me. And I know I can always pick up the phone and Suganya, no matter what time, no matter what silly question it is, she's going to have a happy voice and it's going to be, "Hey kiddo," and I'm going to be smiling by the time we get off the phone. Amber is literally one of my best friends. We've been friends since high school, and she's been styling me pretty much since high school, even when I don't want her to. She always matches my aesthetic. She has built my aesthetic. People that need to trust her, that's me. I tell her that all the time because I used to be like, "I don't look like Amber. That outfit's not going to look right on me." And she's like, "Well, you just put it on." And I put it on, and it looks amazing every time. And that is why she needs the House of Serena. Because as my daughter says, she wants to be like Auntie Amber because she makes things pretty. And when you make things pretty, you make people happy.
True. Yeah, so true.
So I want to thank both of you for
Thank
the
you.
part that you play in my life.